Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here. Now, this is a build that if you've ever wanted to soar like an eagle in a game, that you might like. Pretty much we're going to be spamming the soar skill over and over and over again, and it's going to be providing quite a bit of damage thanks to Spirit Hall and a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, I do want to note that this is more of a build concept right now than an actual finished build, mostly because in the review build, there was quite a bit of bugs related to this particular build, and we've got them all reported and hopefully going to get them fixed by the time the game comes out. But pretty interesting stuff here going on. So we are going to be using Eagle Spirit Hall here and Eagle on both ends here. And the reason why we're doing this is because every time we evade, we're going to fling 8 storm feathers, which deal quite a bit of lightning damage. This wording is a little bit weird, but basically the way that it works is that when we evade, it's going to shoot out like 8 feather bullets for us. And typically this should actually be quite a bigger number here, because Loyalty's Mantle should, oh, actually it worked this time. Okay, so Loyalty's Mantle increases this number quite significantly, as you can see here. So 8 times 380 is kind of a big number. It is 3,000 weapon damage per attack or per evade. And we'll be able to spam evade infinitely just by doing some stuff here. So first off, I don't think that we're actually going to need Sepazantek to make this work, because we are going to be using a combination of things here. So first off, casting a focus skill recalls all nearby storm feathers, which are these little things on the ground here. And if there are no feathers, it instead spawns 10 of them randomly around you. You can probably put this anywhere. We're also going to make it so that Eagle skills have a chance to spawn a storm feather, but each storm feather we pick up also reduces your mobility skill cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. And so our mobility skill of Soar here has a 8.8 second cooldown with loyalty on right now. 1374 otherwise. And so we're going to be generating 10 feathers and then pulling them back to us every single time, because our Soar also casts Vortex. And so this should make it so that we send out a whole bunch of feathers and they get pulled back to us every single time, and it should work without any sort of bugs. And so as long as there's no feathers around, each time they're going to get sucked in and then put back out once again. As you can see, it allows us to kind of spam here the actual button. Now the bug is that our evade, which is now Soar thanks to Scorn the Earth, is not actually getting its timer reduced here, and so we can't actually spam our evade right now, but supposedly that's a bug and should be getting fixed. And stuff like attacks reduce evade's cooldown here will help with that a little bit. But right now we're just using Sepazantek here because every single time we evade, this is also going to fire off a Thunder Spike, and a third hit of whenever we evade, every third hit of a Thunder Spike reduces your evade cooldown by 5 seconds. And so that's significantly helping to restore the amount of charges that we have here. And so we're just doing tons of damage with this. Ideally, I think you're going to want to... We're also leaving feathers behind anytime we move with mobility skill. So those feathers are also getting laid back, and we're just, picking those up as we are, going along doing our thing. So as long as we move a little bit here, those feathers are going to be left behind us. And it's just a lot of feather spam. I'm probably going to combine this with stacking up armor and using unyielding hits, which I think is kind of a ridiculous aspect right now, because this makes it so that casting a gorilla skill increases your weapon damage by a percentage of your armor for 3 seconds. And yeah, we're just going to have to weave in either Rock Splitter or maybe some defensive skills. Right now we're doing like all basic attacks because, I was using Sepazantek, and I believe I was using Combined Strikes as well, just to try to get a little bit more multiplier on this. But obviously increasing your weapon damage with gorilla skills is pretty powerful as well. Now we could potentially use something different than Loyalty's Mantle. This is just giving us a lot of cooldown reduction. This is actually not even a good version. Do I have a better loyalty? I do. We got quite a few here. So we would want one that gives us like close to 60% cooldown reduction here. So you can see that gets us down to 8.8 seconds. So each time we, suck the feathers in, we pretty much, almost reset our cooldown every single time. We could also, instead of this, use something like a Harlequin Crest or anything else that gives us quite a bit of cooldown. That's pretty much really all we really want for here. But the 100% Spirit Hall bonus is also pretty nice here. So we probably will end up using Loyalty in the long run, but there are some other options as well. In terms of buttons here, like Ravager is kind of a weird option. However, Ravager I think is going to be pretty popular in a lot of builds, simply because with this here, every single time you get healed, you're going to stockpile up stacks. And this is basically going to make it so that you can see here it says 40. Every time you hit is going to hit additional times like that. Go at that. Sorry. As you can see, it's shooting off more than just one hit here, and that's because of the Ravager hitting as well. And this is useful because we want to activate Potent. So Potent makes it so that hitting enemies with Jaguar skills like Ravager increases the damage they take from you up to 30%. This is a nice little multiplier that you can work your way in there. We could potentially get the aspect that makes it so that Ravager just stays up all of the time while consuming our resources, since we're not really using it for anything else. But yeah, like I said, this build is kind of just in concept form right now. There's definitely some things that we need to work our way through. I have not necessarily gone through and like min-max the Paragon just yet. Stuff like Drive I think will be pretty neat. There is one of these that makes it so that spawning a Storm Feather gives us more damage and movement speed, and that stacks up to 5 times, and also gives us Storm Feather potency. Now Storm Feather potency is the last thing I wanted to talk about here because it is kind of ridiculous. If you remember here that 380 lightning damage, well, if you get a weapon like this where you have primary Spirit Hall and Storm Feather potency, one is weapon, one is offense, is going to increase that increase that Spirit Hall by quite a lot, because we're taking from 380 up here to 678. So that is going to be quite a big number here. And the numbers on our feathers and everything should go up with that as well. And so, yeah, it's just going to be a rather big damage spike. Now, Storm Feather potency is probably a little bit overtuned, because we'll go back here to 380 again. As you can see here, we just have 26% on this glove, and it dropped us down to 313. So being able to add quite a significant amount of weapon damage to our proc per thing here. If you remember, they're firing out 8 of these. It's a little bit hard to see with Scorn, but if you put on normal boots here, you'll be able to see that it shoots out all of those feathers, right? Here, I'll take off this as well. So you can see here with Sepazantek, this is resetting our dodge all of the time and shooting out tons of feathers. And yeah, this will do quite a lot of damage once you finally kind of get everything set up. And yeah, I think this would be a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys in the Hantu.